I think this is just my fantasy, but I think when you work on a play, you get to. It's like as if you're playing a concert. If you're playing a, Tchaikovsky piano concerto, you're going through exactly what the notes he wrote. So you get close to Tchaikovsky, I'm sure, and I think you do. Certainly, I have the fantasy that I get close to a playwright's mind and feeling as I'm working on a play. My fantasy is that what really compelled Lope to write the play was the fact that the people rose up and killed the commander. But that wasn't unique. I'm sure, as you all know, as learned hispanists, this was not a unique event. I think the fact that there's nobody confessed under torture is extraordinary, and that, to me, that's what really got me taking my original set of thoughts into a new dimension, which I think is thrilling. And just to backtrack a little bit, I also don't think that Lope glorifies. I mean, he loves the film Ovejuna, and he kind of glorifies them in a sense. But I think there's a very important area in which he doesn't, which is that the behaviour of the commander at this end of the selfish spectrum, I think, infects and contaminates the peasants. And so, despite the fact that they rise up and they have every right to rise up, in the fact that they slaughter and kill, and some of the language and phrases that they use in the killing, you can see, I think, that Lope is saying, I love these people, they're great, but they've caught the disease, that answering violence with violence, however innocent you are, and however right you are in your struggle, you become contaminated. And I think there's an incredible movement around the middle of Act 3 when he shows us them in the act of violence becoming as inhuman as the commander, and then slowly recovering their humanity, and the great cleansing, as it were, is the torture scene where they. Because if we think about it in any kind of realistic sense, from what I know from the research, is that 300 people were tortured, and how on earth nobody would confess under very serious torture is kind of unbelievable. It's kind of beyond the bounds of reason, and I think that's why I've staged it the way I have, because I think if you hear, although I kept saying to the actors, listen to that. In Act 1, it's all, and into Act 2, it's all the peasants crying for mercy, and that cry for mercy is falling on deaf ears. The commander and his men don't listen. And then in Act 3, the commander and his men all cry for mercy, and the peasants don't listen. And then mercy begins. And in a way, that's the great theme and the great miracle, I think, of the play. And I'm using that word advisedly. I think it is about human ingenuity. It is about the strength of humanity working, living together. It is about the love and the sacrifice that the community makes for each other. It is about the love and the sacrifice that Laurence and Fuente make for each other, that Esteban makes for his community. And the surviving of the torture is surely, partly it's a great act of human ingenuity and human courage, but I think Lope felt that there was something miraculous about that, and that all those cries for mercy were actually heard in that moment, and that the whole rest of the play is about mercy, and the discovery of mercy, and which is in a way, which is the solution to this terrible notion that you hit me and I'll hit you back. You kill me, I'll kill you. We've got nuclear weapons, or we've got bigger nuclear weapons. This eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth philosophy still is prevalent and dominant in our culture now. And that there is something about mercy which just breaks this completely. Because mercy is about, I think, one party understanding the other and moving on. And the master could quite easily and quite realistically be punished by Ferdinand and Isabella, and he showed mercy. And the peasants, the people of Fuente Ovejuna, they were provoked beyond belief, but they did murder somebody. And as the king said, this is a terrible crime. And they're shown mercy. So I think that was kind of, if you like, the journey of thought and the journey of ideas. What's great about Lope is he doesn't conduct this kind of ethical and moral debate through people sitting down and going, let's talk about ethics and morality. You know, he does it through a compelling human story.
But he does set it up.
Oh no, absolutely.
About love at the very beginning.
You're absolutely
which shows you these guys are capable of carrying on that.
Yes, that's yeah. Those two, the discussion of courtesy and treating each other with courtesy or rudeness or politeness.
And I think it's really interesting that you say that mercy comes at the end of the play, because Mingo in that debate says, let me make it very clear, I'm not saying that divine love doesn't exist. I'm saying that human love doesn't exist. So,
and it's great that Mingo goes on that journey. It's great that Mingo, of all people, you know, and I said to him, I said, you're a Thatcherite. You want to shut down the hospitals, you want to, you know, that's where he starts, and he ends up the hero of the revolution. And it's a good journey, and he's a lovely actor. But so that's how I start on the plays. I try and understand the ideas and the theme, because that seems to be that Lopez, he's a really, and what's brilliant is that he manages to explore all this. As you say, he sets it up with an almost Shavian debate about love, but you know, with wit and the diverse discussions of selfish and selfless love conducted by a shepherd and a shepherdess and a milkmaid is brilliantly comic and typically ironic from Lope. But yeah, I think as he embodies these things in action, you know, and he's a great writer. And again, just having had the chance to go through this play, I'm convinced yet again of his genius. And very interesting to just to give you a little bit of a sense of the actors of this company. Who've done many authors, many different authors, but who are dominantly Shakespearean actors. They were quite unsure about the material to begin with. You know, they kind of, well, it's so lean and well, what's here? And I said, well, it's story. You've got to bring a lot. You've got to understand the play. You've got to understand the point themes, and you have to bring a lot. And it quite shocked them, the different requirements. And they get lovely discussions like, I said, well, it's just Act 3 at the moment, it's not emotional enough and it's too slow. And they said, you want us to be more emotional and fast? And I said, yes. And this again this is not normal. This is not normal in the kind of Northern European tradition. If you're being funny, you're fast. We're used to that. You get emotional, you slow pauses. I said, no, more emotion and quicker. And these are some of the challenges that, and so this week, for instance, one of the actors took me aside the other day and he said, I've been stopped in the street 3 times in 2 days by people saying, I just love that, I've seen you in plays over the years, that's the most enjoyable thing I've ever seen you. And he said, I've been in Hamlet, you've seen me in King Lear, you've seen me in yeah, but I didn't enjoy them as much as that. And there's something, I'm not claiming, I don't set up the fight between Lope and Shakespeare, but Lope pleases people. He pleases people, and I think he has a wonderful, warm human touch, and I can imagine, you know, a 15-year-old child who hasn't been to the theatre very much coming and seeing that play and having a great time. And I can also imagine, you know, a 65-year-old theatre expert going and having a great time as well. And I think there is something wonderful about Lope. And the actor said, well, why? He said to me, this actor said, why are they stopping on the street? Why are they saying, why? He said, it's so, there's just not so much there as Shakespeare. It's just not so much there. I said, no, but it's the story. It's the story and the theme. And the theme is a compelling theme. It's a vital theme. And